The Pit Press Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of A Road to the Pit, a high school basketball journey. I'm your host, Ed Nunez. He's the head basketball coach of the Albuquerque High Bulldogs with a record of 17-10, 7-3 in district play. They came in second in the Santa Fe Demons in last week's district tournament. His Bulldogs will travel to take on the Clovis Wildcats this weekend in a first-round state game. He also coached at West Las Vegas, and his assistant coach was the girls' head coach at Pecos for 3 years, Las Vegas Robertson for 4 years, the El Dorado girls basketball team for 3 years, before coming to Bulldog City. Leroy Barela, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you guys for having me, man. I'm super excited about doing this with you guys. Love to talk basketball, love to talk about my guys, so I'm excited.
Exciting time. Before we go on, and my mistake, I want to introduce my co-host, my son, Nick Nunez, who was he also was a St. Pius player, coach with Damian Segura for several years there, was a member of the 2013 state championship staff when they beat the Albuquerque Academy. So, Coach Nunez, you know about the road to the pit. Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Dad. Excited to talk to Coach Barela about Albuquerque High. It's the state tournament. It's the most exciting time of the year, so let's get into it.
Yeah,
Coach. You know the Bulldogs. Celebration last night. You got to the state tournament, and it's a road to the pit, and you've got to win a game against Clovis this weekend. We'll get into that matchup a little bit later. It's exciting. It really is. I know you had your watch party. How did the Bulldogs get to this point in the season? Your team was 7-20 last season, a 10-win improvement. What has been the key to this team's success? That's a huge improvement. And, a couple of close losses. It could have been even, those losses to Santa Fe. Wow. Give Santa Fe credit. But at the buzzer with 2 heaves. Anyway, what's been the success, the key to this year's success for your team?
To be honest with you, the message to the guys early at the end of last year, it was kind of tough for everybody, myself, the guys included. It was like, we expected a little bit more. We wanted to go to state. And so right after the Capital loss in the first round of district, some of the guys came up to me and they said, Coach, this will get better. And I said, yeah, it's going to get better, and they were like, and we went into the summer and we started putting things together. We started to see what we had from last year. And, I told the guys, I said, listen, the pieces are here. The pieces are here. This is a 4-year build. A new coach coming in, it takes time. I said, but if you guys are willing to accept it, we could force feed 4 years into 2, and you guys can be ready. You'll be ready. And they accepted the challenge. They showed up every day in the off season. I don't know the exact number of summer league games, but it was a lot of open gyms. They played the fall league. We were at every fall league game. Every open gym game. It's the start of the school year in August. When we had basketball class, it was 2 months of just defense. And I said, you guys have to buy into it. You're going to want to run. You're going to want to play. We're not going to do that. We're going to learn how to play defense, kind of the way I understand it to be. And they took on the challenge, man. And I think all the credit goes to them, and it's not a cliche. I think it's all honesty. We had a group of 12 to 15 dudes just buy into it, and I think this is the outcome right now.
Before I throw it to Nick, I want to ask you this: the buy-in without the drills, without the basketball, and buying into a defensive scheme, and the buy-in has to be what you wanted it to be. Defense. You've been around the game a long time. The buy-in's key because kids, they have their own idea about how the game should be played, what they want to do, what looks good, the step back threes, things like that. The work put in there, that's a lot. Now, how'd you get them to buy in? Because that's impressive to me. When you get kids to buy in, it's beautiful. Yeah. When they play the way they want them to play, you want to bottle it and use it every night, and it doesn't work. Some nights it's going right. But how did you get them to buy in? Because that's impressive to me. But because a lot of kids don't want to do drills without the ball, and we used to do that back in the day, right? We used to do it a lot, and kids wouldn't understand that. But how did you get them to buy in?
It was a lot of consistency. The drills stayed the same. So, and I explained to him, when you master the drill, you're going to master what we're trying to do offensively, defensively. And we tell him, don't get bored with the drill. There's two ways you can go about it. You can survive in the drill because coach put a drill out there, or you can thrive in the drill and you can get better. So as soon as you find yourself getting bored, then you're just getting complacent. So if you want to be complacent, then that's a 7-20 season. If you want to get better, you have to thrive in the drills. You have to trust what we're teaching, whether it's elementary level or top-notch NBA level stuff. Whatever is being taught, you have to trust it. And if you trust it, you'll do it. And that was the buy-in, man. And it was, if you want to get better and your goals are to do A, B, and C, then you're going to have to do things that earn you A, B, and C, because nobody out here is going to give you anything. Nobody. There's not a team in 5A, 4A, 3A that's going to sit back and say, oh, that's Albuquerque High. We're going to – no. Nobody's sitting back and giving you anything. So the buy-in was, if you want to get better, you have to trust us. We're not going anywhere. We're the coaching staff. We're going to put it in. We put it in at the C team level, the JV level, the varsity level. And we started to see results in the summer. And I think with today's generation, it's very how do you say it? It's instant gratification. So when they saw the results in the summer, they're like, oh, this can happen. And I said, we haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg yet. This is just like the first layer of the defense. This is the first layer of the offense. We're going to get to the point where I'm not even calling an offense. You're calling the offense. You're reading defenses. You're calling offense. Our point guard right now, Johnny Sanchez, can I'm not going to lie, man. I love to sit up here and say, oh, I call the plays and I draw this and that. And there's been games where he's called the offense and he's called the defense for 32 minutes. And that's how it's designed. It's a very player-driven system, and they bought into it. And I think it's from the consistency, X's and O-wise, and it's a lot of tough love. It's a lot of tough love. It's a lot of tough love. It's not easy. You know, you got to get on guys even when they don't feel like they want to be get on. You got to push them. You got to continue to push them. You got to criticize them. You got to congratulate them. You got to be their biggest cheer support. And it just has to be a whole gamut of just a different things that you could give them. And I think that was the buy-in, is they saw our coach pushes us. He compliments us. He holds us to high standards. And he's constantly giving us what we need to be successful. And, you know, I think that was the buy-in.
A lot of trust there, Coach, and you trust your players to do that. Nick.
Coach, I want to ask you about your season, starting with your pre-district season. Yeah. You guys went to a tournament out in Alaska. You guys might be one of the first programs in the state of New Mexico to travel that far. Yeah. What was that like? You guys ended up winning that tournament. Tell us a little bit about it.
It was funny. We went with our girls team, and here's a little short story. We get there Wednesday late, something, Tuesday, very late, 1 a.m, and we got to play that next day. Well, one of the teams got snowed in from, I think they were like from Anchorage, and that was so they reshuffled everything. Okay. And they said, okay, so it was a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, Saturday tournament. So you played 2 off 1, and then you played the championship game. So they shuffled it, and they said, hey, Albuquerque is going to play 3 games, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that gave us a night to rest. So anyways, the girls coach and I went to the pre-tournament meeting, and we walk in and we saw the team that we opened up with from Seattle, Washington. Man, that team, we're talking 6'7", 6'6", shooters, defenders. And we walk in the gym, and they're doing warm-up. They have that first session, that first half-hour warm-up, and we're talking windmill dunks, and I'm thinking, this is going to be great. This is going to be one heck of an opportunity. Like, we get to travel this far. We have a day's rest, and we get to come and compete. And we showed out, man. We played our behinds off. We played for each other. We played intense basketball. We beat the team that was supposed to win it all right away. And that kind of set the motion, man. We get into the second game. It was a good little win. I think we won by 30. We were able to get a lot of our bench guys in, so everybody's playing. Everybody's feeling good about the trip. Then we play the host team in the championship, and it goes into double overtime. And we're talking about, it felt like Northern New Mexico basketball, where it's just wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling people. And our guys responded. We hit a 3 in regulation to send it into overtime, and then we got a steal in overtime to tie it up with a layup. And then we got in the second overtime, and we ended up beating them by 6. So we played good defense, we played good offense, but more importantly, we played team basketball. And that trip play dividends, because when we got back to New Mexico, even though we lost those next 2 games in Metro, we never forgot what we accomplished out there, and we knew what we could build off of. And it was the 3rd and 4th game in Metro, and then we just kind of took off.
Coach, you mentioned that after the APS Metro tournament, you guys hit a stride after you played St. Mike's on January 18th. You win 5 games in a row. What was kind of the turning point of that part of the season?
I think coming back from Alaska and seeing the team, the type of teams that we could beat, because we scouted them, we watched a lot of film, and we're like, that first game, the name of the team was Auburn Mountain View. We knew we were behind the 8 ball. We're like, that's going to be a tough game. There's not really a lot of teams in the Metro that are built like that, so there's not you're not going to see that a lot, and you're not going to be able to be prepared for it. We can't simulate that in practice because we don't have the size and the speed to do that. And when we saw that we were able to accomplish that on a day's rest, something just happened to us. These kids just grew as a team. Like I said, the first 2 games in Metro were tough. We were under the weather. We had some guys that were sick. We had the flu. We're battling some illnesses. And then when we got over that feeling of how we played in Alaska just trickled into that beginning part of district, and we just felt good about who we were and what we were trying to accomplish. It was that instant gratification where we saw results, and kids love that stuff, right? Like they don't go to the library and to look at an encyclopedia for information. They just get on Google. So it's instant gratification. And when they had those wins and they saw that the stuff that we were putting in was beneficial to their success, the trust grew, and then we grew as a team. And it just, you want to talk about, we were going into practices just feeling good about what we were doing. It wasn't even like, it was possession by possession in practice that we felt like we were getting better. And so we were excited, very, very excited about what we were doing.
Coach, speak to the level of competition in District 5, 5A. You know, District 1 gets a lot of credit with Volcano, Atrisco, and Cleveland. The other Albuquerque Metro District, District 2, it's got La Cueva. But you guys got 2 top 8 seeds. You guys are an 11 seed in the state tournament. Los Lunas and Santa Fe, 2 fine programs. You beat both Los Lunas and Santa Fe. Talk about the competition you faced in District 5 and how that prepares you for the state tournament.
You got to prepare for a team like Los Lunas. You know, Coach Travis does a heck of a job. Obviously, Jaden Holland is that might be a once in a lifetime thing. So going out there and competing against them, they prepare you, man. They prepare you for runs in the state tournament. Like I said, Santa Fe High, Coach Cisco in his first year there, you got Lucas Turner, who can flat out play basketball. They got role players all over the place coming off the bench. They know the system. They run it well. Very good. But we know those teams can play. I would challenge any team in any district to play Manzano and Santa Fe and Rio Grande and Capital on any given night and see what that feels like. You know what you're getting into when you play Los Lunas and you play Santa Fe. Those are 2 top 10 teams. Now you look at Manzano, that's one of the best 6 and whatever teams maybe out there, because those kids can play. Rio Grande with the 2 brothers, the 6'6" brothers, the Gonzalez brothers, go prepare for that. That's not an easy, that's a difficult play. And you go back and you look at their record, they played Atrisco really well, they played El Dorado really well. I mean, they're a tough out. And then you go to Capital. If you've never played at Capital, schedule a Capital game in Santa Fe and go see what 32 minutes feels like over there. So not just those other 2 teams, I feel like this district as a whole will prepare you for a run, and so we were battle tested every single night. I'll tell you, the Los Lunas game that we lost in Los Lunas, we had 2 of our starters. We had 37 points on the bench. They were out. We were playing JV guys. We were down by 1 with the ball with 10 seconds, turned it over, and they got a layup. So it was essentially like a 1-point game. We had 2 2-point leads against Santa Fe High where they hit 2 buzzer beater threes on us to beat us by 1. So this could have easily looked, instead of like 7-3, could have looked like 9-1. And so, that's kind of the nature of the business. And yeah.
Coach, talk about some of the players on your team that got all district recognition. Isaiah Maldonado hit the 1,000-point mark earlier this year. I feel like he doesn't get a ton of recognition. He's a little under the radar. So talk a little bit more about him.
He's to me, he's a guy. He's a kid of character. He's more than just a shooter, more than just a basketball player. He is one of the most loyal kids you could ever come across. You know, like there's some adults that could learn a lot from a kid like that. Who his loyalty to me is his best asset. You know, he's got a hell of a 3-point jump shot, but his loyalty to teammates, his loyalty to coaches, his loyalty to his school. I think we need more of that. And I think because he's loyal to the people around him, he doesn't get a lot of recognition because he's not really out there. But again, as far as a basketball player, nah, you know that those kids have a saying, he has the dog in him. That kid literally has the dog in him. He is a different animal. He'll give you 40 when we need 40. In that, I think it was the first game. Might have been the first game in Alaska where we're playing that team and his shot wasn't going in. The kid had 7 points, and I think he had like 13 assists, 7 steals. He just completely flipped the script on his game, and he became something that we needed and something that he really wasn't ever asked to do. And I think that goes back to that loyalty piece. So he's a special basketball player, and I'm excited about the college who finally offers him, because they're going to get a stud, a flat out stud. And I back that. I put my name on that. Alejandro, we call him Ali Mireles. He's a junior, a 6'3" shooter. Man, if he catches and you give him any kind of space, he has the green light. His green light is neon green. His green light is flashing. We trust him to shoot as much as we trust Isaiah. So those were our 2 first team, and then Damian Langford's our big in the paint. I think he was brought up to be more like a stretch player, and then we get here and we don't have a whole lot of size, so he's got to go to the post position, and he had to kind of learn it and grow in it. And a lot of times these kids, they want to be out in the perimeter with, you know, the dribble and the pull up and the step back, and so he's had to mold himself into a post player. And to me, he's one of the better rim protectors that I've got to coach maybe ever. So those are our 3. He was an honorable mention guy. So 3 guys that got some accolades in the postseason that are very well deserving of those accolades for sure.
Dad, I'll turn it to you.
You know, Coach, you mentioned some players, and Jonathan Sanchez, you mentioned runs the offense, very smart player. I remember watching him a lot. The funny thing is, his dad, David, was one of my kids at East San Jose Community Center back in the day. David and I go back years, and we're still close. We still talk, and Jonathan's a heck of a player. As you mentioned, you trust that decision making and not calling a lot of plays from. And you know, Nick played for a coach that Damian Segura, who was an excellent coach. Yeah. And everyone has their own style, Coach. You know that. But you saying that about Jonathan Sanchez, and he's only a junior. Only a junior. One player I want to mention too is your senior Charles Granberry, the son of Derek Granberry, the '93 Albuquerque High champion with Dominic Rivas, Yul Greathouse, Jeremy Trujillo, Kenneth Douglas. That was a heck of a team in '93. Broke my heart because they beat my Hornets that year. Very close game. But you've got some great players on your roster, no question about it. You know, Coach, for Albuquerque High's first winning season in state tournament appearance since 2018. How does your team maintain success and bring Albuquerque High to the next level of winning district championships? And you mentioned, gosh, bounce here, play there. Yeah, it'd be very different. But you made great strides. We haven't heard who the coach of the year is. Certainly you're a candidate. But talk about the next step, that Albuquerque High has to make to win those district championships that you mentioned. Los Lunas, you're in a tough district there. Very tough.
I think the next step is we're competing now. The next step is now we have to learn how to win those games. We can't lose 2 buzzer beaters by, on 3 points. I take 99.9% of the blame. I got to be better at it. I got to put them in situations in practice where they see that. I think you learn that through experience, and we've experienced it. So now the next step is now we win those games. And when you win those games, now maybe you're not an 11 seed. Now maybe you're a 7 or a 6 seed. And so I think that's the progression now. I think it's not just – I think we've learned how to compete. Now in competing, now we have to learn how to win those games. And it's fun watching these guys develop into that, because their natural tendency is to want to go like everybody else, want to go win the game. And when we don't get those results, sometimes it can be a 2-step back kind of a situation. And then we got to bring them in and we got to say, hey, this is still a process. Like, I haven't even been here 2 years with you guys. You guys have had a COVID season. You've had 3 different coaches. And we're not making excuses for you, but you have to be understanding of the situation that we're all in, and we're all growing. I make mistakes. I tell the guys all the time, I've made a hell of a lot more mistakes than you have, and so I'm learning from it. And I think that's the next step. Let's start winning those games that we're losing close now, and see where this goes to. And I'll tell you what, we have a very young team, and we're very focused on this year. We're not thinking past tomorrow, because today was a very good practice, good film session. But we have a lot of young guys coming back where they're going to be experienced, and now I think they're going to be the progression of what Isaiah Maldonado, what Damian Langford, what Charles Granberry have built here. They're the next step. They're the build from what these guys have set. And so it's exciting to see. I think we got 5 sophomores on the bench that can play. We have a couple of juniors that start for us, or 3 juniors that start for us. We have a kid that don't get a whole lot of run that they could start on any team anywhere. Kason Atanasoff Perea, he's our defensive specialist. He's a 3-and-D guy. This kid has defended the best player on every team the last 12 basketball games and has not complained one time about his shots, how many shots he's getting, what his shot, 0. He's gone games without a shot, defended for 32 minutes. They came out of games like the most accomplished basketball player in high school. And when you have that, especially nowadays, you have something special. We have a guy that we could throw at anybody's best player and not have to think about he's gonna ask for his shots, and he doesn't. He plays basketball the right way. So that's one of those guys that doesn't get the accolades. It doesn't. But in our locker room, in our office, our coaches know that's an unsung hero. That is the glue, and we go as he goes. We go as a Maldonado and Morales score. We go as a Tanasoff Perea defense, and so we're very excited about that. And we have another young defender, like you, happens to be my son. He was a JV guy when our 2 guards went down at the beginning of the district. We pulled him up. He actually started for us. He played a couple games where we couldn't take him out. He played 2 full games and defended so well that now he's a heck of a defender off the bench. So the pieces are starting to come together. And again, I think that's part of the progression.
Love to hear about it. You mentioned unselfishness. Atanasoff Perea not wanting his 3-and-D guy, and a lot of guys, it's about the phone. Did I get my likes? Am I on blast? What did I get? How many people liked it? I love what I'm hearing about your team. I love it. Coach, go Nick, go ahead.
Coach, wanted to switch gears a little bit and talk about the rich tradition that Albuquerque High has. Albuquerque High has a huge contingent of alumni that still live in town. One of the most storied programs in the metro area, no doubt. Have you connected with any alumni or seen any at your games?
No, I'm sorry. We're having some kind of a drill right now, I think. I've met Damian Jenkins, who was just an outstanding player for Albuquerque High. Has called. I've messaged and talked to him. He's excited to come talk to the guys. We've had some older guys kind of message us through social media, excited about what we're doing with the program. So I think people have taken notice. I think people are appreciative of the work that we're putting in, and we're just excited, man. I think the alumni guys are seeing the work that these kids are putting in, and we want to build that tradition back. We're not trying to be like anybody, but we do know that there's a history here. We're not trying to be like the old guys. Those guys were their own individual selves, and they were excellent basketball players. We're trying to be the best versions of ourselves so we can build this thing forward.
Got it. I want to just weigh in on that. They mentioned 7 state championships, right? You mentioned Damian Jenkins, his dad Richard just passed away about a month or so ago. The late Tommy Maestas passed away. It's a great tradition. You're right. And, when you think of Bulldog basketball and you're one step away from the pit, you've got to take care of business against Clovis before anything is talked about. But it's an exciting time because back in the day, Albuquerque High, I've told you my stories, because I played at Highland and coached at Highland. And it was tough to beat them. Back in the day, they wearing that jersey Albuquerque. They intimidated a lot of people, man. They did. And they had some excellent players. And Coach Holzman had a great staff. The late, great Alvin Metters, Pete Pino, Dave Romo, Ron Garcia, Ron Estrada, Abe Estrada back in the day, man. Yeah. That was, and I just remember that because sitting there at the courtside. So it's good to see Albuquerque High back. We said this on the show last night, back in the saddle, man, you know, and it's great to see what you're building there just based on, you know how many alumni I know. I think I told you I played a lot of ball with them. They were teammates of mine in my adult life. You know, those dudes were some tough guys, man. And winning meant everything. It did. They talked about Bulldog pride a lot. They did. You know, and I'm not a Bulldog, but just playing with those guys, man, there was no quarter given. A lot of pride in their game, and you're building that. You're building that back up. You know, Coach, just switching gears a little bit, we have to ask you this. When you were at El Dorado, and I remember asking you this, I had you on the sports desk a couple of years ago. You coached standout junior guard Bella Hines of El Dorado, who's got 40 Division I offers, an amazing player. Tell us what she was like as a freshman when you coached her there at El Dorado.
It's funny because she came up and she was coming. Her 8th grade year had just ended, and so the freshmen who were already registered to the school could come in and start working out in the off season. And so my daughter had just graduated, and I said, "Hey, this girl's coming in. Bella's coming in. Played in the same AAU system as my daughter." And I said, "Stay behind a little bit. We're going to work her out, and that's kind of, you know, we'll just we'll kind of take a look." And when the session was over, we're driving home, and I told my daughter, "What do you think?" She's like, "That's the best basketball player I've ever played against." And Bella was probably 13 years old. So we know the skill set, Bella. And I said this time and time again, and I will say it till I'm blue in the face. There is a human being locked in that kid's body that is better at being a human being than being a basketball player. When you have that, you could coach that all day long. And I'll tell you a story, and if you guys ever talk to her, ask her, and she'll tell you, it was maybe our 2nd or 3rd day there, we're running a drill, and she says something, and I don't like it. And I'm like, "You can get your stuff and you can go home. Thank you for coming and trying, but it's not going to work here for you. We're going to have 2 different styles, and you won't be able to play for me." So I said, "You can take your stuff and you can go." And so she stood off on the side, and she's like, "Whoa." So when we get a water break, and we come back, and she said, "Coach, I promise I'm going to do it the way you want it done." And she did. Never a problem. Never. You could coach her hard. You could compliment her. You could coach her any way you wanted, and you were going to get results. And that was the special thing about that kid, because again, a better human being than a ball player. And we know the type of ball player she is. The week that I interviewed and I took the Albuquerque High job, I had been on the phone with UConn for about a week straight, and getting film, answering questions, and you could just see the snowball getting bigger in a good way, right? That snowball was getting bigger in a big way, and I saw my daughter and the amount of time she put in and the amount of effort. I didn't know that could be surpassed. Bella would call me and, "Coach, can we get in the gym? Coach, can I get the gym open? Coach, is the door? Coach, are you around? Coach, I know you're watching CC play in the East Coast. Can Coach whatever come up?" And always. And so everything that girl gets, she's earned. Everything she gets, she deserves. I think that's one of those kids that you could spend hours talking about, you know, and fortunate to coach her. And it was a blast. It was fun, and it's fun to watch her grow up into a young lady, and handle things the way she does. She gets a lot of recognition, and I think sometimes for anybody, and even an adult, that can be confusing at times. And I think she handles it really well. And I'm proud of her, and I hope the best for her. I think she's got great parents. I think she's got great siblings, and I think it's a great support system for somebody who's accomplishing what she's accomplishing. And I think there's, and we all know this, there's just a lot more to come. I think this is just kind of like the beginning of what's to come of that young lady.
You know, it's funny. She's still getting the same working with her individual coach, Jay Hill, out at ABC. I know Coach Hill real well, and he tells me the same thing. And sometimes you have to tell her, "Okay, stop, get rest," you know, because she'll hoop till she drops, man. And great stuff there, Coach. And I did want to mention Coach Manny Otero was also on that '93 championship team. Cannot forget about him. What an outstanding ball player and a great coach as well. You know, Coach, what's it like preparing for the state tournament? It's not your first experience for your team and this coaching staff. You've got extensive experience preparing for the state tourney. Walk us through. You watching film? I talked to Coach Rico a little while ago. You're watching film. Walk us through the team's approach this week, leading up to their first round game in Clovis? Walk us through that a little bit.
I think the message to the guys is we're not going to win a state championship today. We're not going to win it tomorrow. You have to win today, and you got to win tomorrow, and then you got to keep winning till you get to the state tournament. So we're not worried about or to the state championship. We're not worried about that final Saturday. We're not worried about the Friday before. We're preparing for Clovis, and then we'll take it game by game from there. You know, we got a 3.5 hour drive that we got to get up there. Got to get the kids fed. There's a whole lot of different approach to anything we've done in the season, with the exception of Alaska, to prepare for that. So I think the approach is, let's win today. Let's win each drill. Let's win each strategy, all the stuff that we're putting in, all the game plan. Let's win at every little piece in practice, and then we'll go to tomorrow and let's try to win there. We'll win in pockets so that when Saturday comes, we're prepared. But my whole thing for them is, because there's so much tradition here and everybody wants to see Bulldog City back in the pit, I can't let the guys lose sight of Saturday, because we can't get to the pit if we don't take care of Saturday. So we have a little saying, and Coach Meadows was telling the guys 9:45, and they're all, what's 9:45? That's the time we play, or the team that's in our bracket plays. The winner moves on to 9:45 on Wednesday. But 9:45 doesn't matter if 6 p.m. on Saturday isn't taken care of. So we keep bringing them back to 6 p.m. Saturday. That's the job at hand. It's not, we can't worry about anything else until we take care of 6 p.m. on Saturday. And so that's been the mindset. That's been the approach. Let's win the battle for today, and let's prepare for tomorrow. And then we'll take care of Saturday. And then after Saturday, then we'll start to talk about what it's like to run down the ramp at the pit, and what it's like to see the green, the sea of green in the seeds. But none of that stuff is doable if you don't take care of Saturday. So let's make Saturday the most important piece of the state tournament, and then we'll play it day by day.
First things first.
Yep.
Nick.
Coach, wanted to ask you if you could preview your matchup with Clovis. You guys have not played this year. You have some common opponents. You guys both played La Cueva. You guys both played Santa Fe. They're a team with some size that's played a lot of Metro teams. How do you think you guys match up?
We're undersized. I think they go 6'7", 6'6", 6'6", 6'5", and we go 6 through 4 at the best, 6'3", 6. So we're undersized, but we're going to try to really focus on what we do best. We're not gonna, we can't grow to be 6'7" on Saturday, so we can't really. We'll prepare on how we defend the post, but we're gonna really lock in and see what are the things we do well, and we're gonna exploit that for ourselves on Saturday. So I think that's the matchup. I think if they go big, we're gonna do what we do best, and we're gonna bite at the ankle till the foot falls off, man. That's what we're gonna do on defense. Yep.
For sure. Dad, I'll turn it back to you.
You know, Coach, you're assisted by the Albert Hall, Ronaldo Metters, the son of the late, great Alvin Metters, who I've got such great memories of Coach Metters. I worked with him in the city for years with the Parks and Rec, and I knew Coach Metters very well, and Luis Bibi Rico. And I got a quote from Coach Rico this morning. Leroy's a great coach. He's like me and wears his heart on his sleeve. I call him a mad genius with our offense and our defense. He's a great motivator. He genuinely loves the kids. I've never seen a coach who is so excited to just coach. He's just an overall good guy. I love this dude. He's been a great teacher / leader when times get tough in games. So I thought I'd share that with you. Coach Rico's been a friend of mine and coached Coach Nunez, my son. And but talk a little bit about your assistants. Just having the Metters on that staff. I still remember when I coached at Highland, Coach Metters was a big mentor to me. He gave me a big notebook of plays that I gave back to the Metters family just last year. That belonged to them. Belonged to them. And meticulously written in pencil. You know, back, you should have seen it. Very organized.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, it's great, I'm sure, to have a Ronaldo. I've known Ronaldo since he's been a kid, man, you know, and it's great. I love Ronaldo. Great guy. And Alvin shared the love of golf with both Ronaldo and his late brother, Nate. You know, they played a lot of golf. Talk a little bit about your assistant coaches.
It's a pretty cool process, because when you become a head coach, you kind of always think, oh, I'm going to bring my assistant coaches with me when you maybe take another job, right? And so we did that. We started to hire a new staff, and we had some recommendations. Some people were really recommending this guy, that guy, whatever. So I started making phone calls to these guys. I called Ronaldo, I called D'Albert, and then Rico. I already knew because I known Rico for 30 years since we were right out of high school. I moved to Albuquerque, started playing county league, and I played against Rico a few times. So I've always had a deep admiration for him and his love for the game, and I just felt he was going to be a good asset to our team. And so I call these guys. We meet, and I talked to my AD, and I said, these are the guys I want. I thought I was hiring good basketball guys, and I did. But in the process, I hired 3 of the best men that any person could be around. These are top-notch individuals. You want to see a group of 9th graders with complete admiration, love, and respect for their coach. Watch how Coach Hall coaches these kids and watch how they respond to him. It's the most incredible thing. It's the most incredible thing the way they do. And my boy played for Coach Metters, and he loves that man to death. He 100% loves Coach Metters. And they were asking him one day, we were at home and some friends around, and they're like, who's the best coach you ever had? No, who's your favorite coach you ever had? And I sat back and I was going to say his dad. He said, oh, man, Coach Metters. I was like, wow, I'm sitting right here, bro. Like, I'm right next to you. That's how much he loves that man. My little boy, I have a 9-year-old who can't get enough of Coach Metters, always around him, jumping on him, talking smack. And I don't want to get teary-eyed. I love these dudes to death. And this all ends for everybody, for players, for coaches. I feel like I have 3 brothers for the rest of my life. I have 5 brothers naturally. My mom blessed us with a big family, 5 brothers, 2 sisters. I have 2 awesome brother-in-laws that I love just as much as anybody. And then I gained 3 more through coaching. Like, I love these dudes. Like, I would tell you, and I'm gonna be honest with you, 75% of our conversations probably aren't even basketball. That's how close we've become as just human beings. And when you learn to love and respect other people, I think life is more. I think life's better that way. Basketball is going to happen. They're going to give me suggestions. We're going to write plays up. But at the end of the day, if you don't respect and love each other, 1, why would you do it? And 2, what are you going to get out of it? So the family atmosphere that we've built here is, it's man, I'll take that with me forever. You know, there's blue trophies that we all strive for. 1, getting these kids to understand that they're becoming a better person is more important than becoming a better basketball player, and you will become a better basketball player through that. And 2, when you love and respect people, that to me, that's the greatest gift you could give anybody. And I strive for those more than even a blue trophy. As much as we want one, as much as we want to bring one back to Bulldog City, we got to teach my coaching staff and we teach these kids every day, man, love and respect each other. And if you do that every single day, life is so much better that way. And I don't want it to sound cliche, but I really honestly feel like that. You know, it makes sense to me.
Sounds like the message has been resonating with the whole program, and you can't ask. And like we said, we know Coach Rico very well, and I know Ronaldo since he's a kid. And I love Naldo. He's a lot different than Coach Metters, his dad. They've got different styles, but they're both he learned the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, because they said Coach Alvin Metters, I talked to a lot of his players, was very good with the X's and O's, very good. Yeah. So I know Coach Metters learned a lot from him. One more question, Coach. We'll let you go. Give us a follow-up about your daughter, Cece. How's she doing in college basketball?
Oh, I just got back from so we as you know, we lost in the semifinals of district. So we had this, what was it, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4-day layoff until the seating show. So I told the guys, you know, we're going to get a good little workout Thursday. Friday for class, I won't be here. Coaches are going to take the day. They're going to take the class. They're going to go over all the shooting drills and stuff. I took a red eye out to the East Coast to go watch her play in the NCAA tournament. So she's a back-to-back NCAA tournament participant. And man, and I'm going to take it back to what you said. When you get to do these things with your kids, again, it just goes back to family. It goes back to, man, it's such a beautiful thing to see her play. It's such a beautiful thing to just sit, and I kind of envy the parents sometimes. You know, it's a beautiful thing being a coach, but sometimes when you're a parent and you get to just watch your kid compete, I got to do that a few times this year, not a whole lot. My wife goes up a lot more than I do because she plays out in Maine. I think part of talking about her accolades, she's in her junior year. She's a 3-time all-conference player. She's won some accolades for the East Coast, whatever, player of the week a few times. She's on pace to be a 1,000-point scorer. She's a starter from her freshman year, and she's carries like a 3.8 in the toughest degree that you can go after in that university. That university is very, very academic driven, and so she has aspirations of being a doctor. And when you see where I come from, like if I told you the whole story, you would not believe that I have where I'm at, and I have kids doing what they're doing. So when I get to see her succeeding, it's a joy beyond explanation.
Oh, I'm sure, Coach. You got to be real proud, as I'm very proud of my co-host. Very proud of him.
Yes.
He broke down the 4A bracket last night for boys, and I'm just watching. I'm so proud of him. So I get that feeling. I really do. Nick, you got any questions left for Coach Barela?
No, I don't think so, Coach. Just want to wish you luck on Saturday and congratulate you on a fantastic season, Coach.
Appreciate that, man. And thank you, guys. I know that there's, I don't know how many people out there right now competing for the state. For you guys to call me and ask me to be a part of this is just, I appreciate it, and I appreciate your time and letting me do this. I could do this all night long, man. Talk about my boys, talk about my family, and my coaching staff, my school. That stuff's easy for coaches. So thank you for giving me the forum and the platform to be able to do that.
One last comment, Coach. I know you got to take care of Clovis. You got first things first. But hopefully 9:45, you're there, and you can. I remember back in the day, all the green and white, and whoa. I still remember that. So first things first. So good luck in that. And Josh Maddox is an excellent coach at Clovis. We wish you all the luck, Coach. Good luck.
I appreciate it, man. And I'm telling you that little comment right now, I'm ready to go break down 4 more hours worth of film. So I can jazz me up right now. I'm ready to go back at it.
For my co-host, Nick Nunez, I'm Ed Nunez. We'll be back next week with another episode of Road to the Pit, a high school basketball journey.